on a few things, including school fees. How affordable is your school fees? And do you think you're getting value for money? At times, I don't want to lie. I don't think that I'm getting value for money. And I'm hoping the school is not listening. But at times, I don't think that I'm getting value for money, because as much as the kids go to school, we pay school fees, we still need to get tutors. And you're thinking, what are you doing at school? What is really happening that we need to get tutors? Are you not supposed to be so effective? And our school fees is supposed to be such that the kids ought to get everything else from school. So I wanted to find out from you, should we also regulate school fees from the private sector, from private schools, and have a cap, a limit, and say you can't charge beyond this? And there must be some criteria to even get to this particular amount. You can't wake up and just say your school fees for one child is 300,000 rands, just like that. Or am I speaking against the free market system? And am I taking too much digs at capitalism? And am I restraining trade as it ought to be? Let me know on 011-883-0702. That's one of the issues that we're speaking on. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi expressed his concern about the rapid rate at which informal settlements were growing in South Africa, not particularly in his province, Gauteng. And he went on to say, as I quote from The Citizen in an article that was penned by Itumeleng Mafisa on page 2, he went on to say, we cannot allow our beautiful province to be reduced to a shanty town. Of late, major parts of our province are witnessing an abnormal rise in the number of informal settlements. Very touchy issue, very sensitive, and smacks of elitism as I express some of the concerns around this. Not on the side of the Premier, but just general commentary, because lack of human settlement opportunities is a serious issue in our country. A lot of people don't have they don't have anywhere to stay, they don't have anywhere to live, and they find themselves in difficult circumstances that they have to put up shacks and shanty towns. Having said that, if we do not control that, if we do not have direct control over that, we will collapse. We live in a country where the value of property matters. And these are not my rules. The value of property matters. We live in a country where we also have opportunistic crimes, where some people are not necessarily poor or are not necessarily in lack of accommodation, but they see an opportunity to, infiltrate an area, like we've seen with some of the Zamazamas in the past. Once again, I am not talking about the poorest of the poor, just so that I don't trend for wrong reasons. I am not talking about those who can afford. I am not talking about that. We are talking about people who are opportunists, who are really exploiting the system, and and there's some political parties as well that are thriving by encouraging people to settle anywhere they want to, put up shanty towns, informal settlements, and say, this is your land, grab it, you can go there, and if they kick you out, they must find an alternative for you. There are people who are abusing and exploiting the system. There are some political parties that are doing that. There are some community groupings that are doing that. There are some people who are illegally allocating land to people and say, go and live there, and then you can just pay me 500 rands. That happens. And I'm saying we need to regulate that. We need to find a way, because we also need to protect property value in the country. 011-883-0702. I don't know what you think about that point. Let's go straight to Said in Johannesburg. Said, hi.
Hi, Clement. How are you?
It's Thabo today, but I'm good, Said. How are you?
I'm well, thanks yourself.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I think the school fees should be regulated. Everything in the schools has just gone ridiculously priced. You pay crazy school fees, and on top of that, there's still more and more and more that is required throughout the year for every little thing. It's out of hand. It needs to be regulated, and it needs to become affordable for everybody as well. it's difficult for people to get their kids decent education. It is really, really expensive.
Yeah. And it comes with excursions. It comes with uniforms that are very expensive. It also comes with the plays.
Event.
Yeah, the events.
Event at a school is a fee.
No, you're right. I mean, my son has a play. They're doing The Lion King at their school, and we have to pay an amount for him to participate and to buy a costume and all of that. And you're thinking, there's money. You must pay money for every little activity in the school.
Correct.
But yeah, well spotted.
Furthermore, you still got to pay for tutors afterwards because the kids still don't know what they're doing in class.
That's the part that makes me pull out my hair. I don't get it. Why do kids need to have tutors if the school is so good?
Exactly. You're paying that much of school fees. There's a standard of education that should be there, and everything should be.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about tutors after that. I've got 2 kids in matric this year, and I'm telling you, it's madness.
It's crazy.
The kids are stressing. They are panicking because at school they're not getting what they need.
Yeah.
And they need to go further and get the help that they need.
Yeah, and the school yet charges an arm and a leg, right? Said, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. George, you're in Pretoria. Morning.
Hi, morning, Daddy. Wonderful show. I just want to comment on this issue of the mushrooming of the informal settlements.
Yes.
In the nodal economic areas, especially Joburg, Cape Town, and all those places. Look, we have to admit that our government since 1994 has really failed us in a big way, in the sense that, if you remember the so-called TBVC states,
yes.
In my view, these guys actually threw the baby out with the bathwater, contrary to advice that they got them to say, look, keep what works, in those places, because those areas there were sort of preventing influx into the main cities, so to speak. Now, they were all destroyed. In the peripheries of this land, there's just no job opportunities. Everybody has to just converge in the major cities, right? But now, guess what? They get here, and we have the so-called the Department of Human Settlements. Tabo, you tell me what they do exactly, those guys. Because they're supposed to be proactive. There's parcels of land, the very ones that get hijacked, and then people get settled on there by force. These are the places where government is supposed to be proactive in making sure that there's proper planning and, the whole settlement process takes place in an orderly fashion. No, but they sit and fold their arms until people just take on those places. And, just to speak about the redundancy of this so-called Human Settlement Department, I think it must be done away with. Because whatever they're supposed to be doing is done by the municipalities in any case, Because if you sit and think what exactly this Human Settlement Department is doing, nothing, Tabo. Nothing whatsoever.
Yeah, George, I agree with most of what you said, but I can't say nothing. There is something that's been done, but I suppose we do need an element of more capacity and a more focus-driven approach on this thing. I think nothing, it's a bit of a stretch, but your point is not lost. And you spoke about the TBVC states, and for the benefit of those who don't know what those are, the Transkei, Bophuthatswana, Venda, and Ciskei states during apartheid. They were,
and of course, it was all intended for wrong purposes, but all of them, it could have been repurposed in such a way that, not for discriminatory purposes, but to develop whatever, for instance, those economic activities that was happening there.
Yes.
In terms of your Babelechi and Ekandastria, you had those
places. And I mean, I remember the Pop Studios, the Mabana Cultural Center in Bophuthatswana, and they had some great studios. I think Huma Sekela even recorded one of his albums there, if I'm not mistaken. So I hear that point. 100%. But I must allow me to just very briefly make sure that I attach this quick proviso there too. Those were apartheid set-up states, and those were not good for social cohesion, inclusivity, and just general democracy. There was a lot that went wrong in those states as well. and they pretended that they were independent, but they were not. So I must mention
Granted.
that. However,
Yes.
there were some great pockets of excellence in those states as well. There were some good things. Yes. Yeah.
They should not have been destroyed completely. They should have been repurposed. You know? Because of course we would have taken away or taken out the discriminatory part of you know, there should be free flow of movement of people and all that. But the economic activity part of it should be strengthened even more. That's what we are saying.
I decry the Bob Studios. I honestly, because they were way ahead of their time at that particular
I'm sure
point.
the broadcast man, exactly.
I decry
there's
that.
a lot that was destroyed.
A lot
that was destroyed. But anyway,
thanks, man. Thanks. Really appreciate it. I was just expressing that point so that your good point is not diluted by someone who will say, but it was under apartheid and whatever else. So that's just mainly why I wanted to put it in context. Ragwena in Pretoria North. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm free. Good, sir. How are you?
Yeah. I think what you've just said now, I fully support that. You know, the problems that we have in this country have solutions, and the solutions were there. All we need to do is to go back to those solutions and not put politics too much into the whole thing. This thing of former homeland, that's a fact, and you cannot deny it. To start saying people have nowhere to stay, it's not true. Because if they had sustained those border factories in the former homelands, people would be staying in their houses there to stay. Now, this thing of people having nowhere to stay, the truth is people are moving from rural areas, coming to urban areas where they can find jobs and make some income.
Because it's South Africa, right? They are South Africans. They should be allowed to be anywhere else in the country. If I go to the Western Cape, I don't expect anyone to ask me, "You're from Gauteng, what are you doing here in Western Cape?" I'll tell them,
Yes.
I'm in South Africa.
Yes, but my point is here. The reason why these people go to Cape Town or wherever is because they have lost what used to sustain them in where they come from. Because, I mean, if you see companies like Goodyear closing and all these other closing and everybody moving there. And now the worst part is this. Investors, when they come to South Africa, they themselves choose where they want to invest or stay in terms of erecting their businesses. And the government just fails to give them incentives that please go and invest in Eastern Cape or wherever. Now, everybody is just crowded around the Midrand, around Joburg and so on. That shows poor planning. Government is not doing, a lot around those kind of things. And these problems will persist because the intervention is not realistic and it's not effective. Now, coming to the schools is the same problem, that the system has not been well maintained, because the question you raised a few minutes ago was that we've got parents. If you go to the townships over the weekend, you will be surprised how many households are able to host parties. It's party after party there. Suddenly, people don't have money for electricity. People don't have money for school fees and so on. And they invest in the very same things that you're talking about of cell phones, very, very expensive uniforms, and so on. Now, that is something that is not honest, to say the truth.
Yeah. Ragwena, let's leave it at that. Let's allow Willie also to come through. Really appreciate your time, Ragwena. And important point, I don't want us to miss it. But I'd be a hypocrite. I'd be a two-faced individual. I'd be a double speaker if I don't mention this. We've allowed our schools in the townships to fall into a state of decay. We have. I know a number of township schools that are not in operation right now, and they're just idly standing there, and on weekends they become church venues for various spiritual entities. It's quite unfortunate. But also, I am for everyone going to any school that they want to go to. But why are we not investing in our township schools to perform well? And many of them are performing well. PJ Simelane, Forte High School, Deda, and many other. They are doing. So why are we insisting on taking our kids far away so that they travel an hour and a half to go to a certain former Model C school that does not even get 100% matric pass rate? And simply because it's situated in Rodiport, in Mondio, or wherever else, we deem it to be better than a township school. Why are we not also investing in our schools? In township schools, that's what I mean. Why are we not doing that? Why are we not taking pride in township schools? Why are we not instilling a culture of an academic institution in many township schools? You see kids running at about 8:30, only coming to school, and there's a principal waiting with a whip, beating them up as they walk into school or making them exercise around. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? You are educators. You are supposed to be instilling a culture of academia in any institution that you work in. But just because it's a township, you don't care. Magwenya and having tea and you don't screaming to the next teacher, Mikey, hey, come here, Mzansi Mawan. What is that? What is that? But also we don't take ourselves seriously, Bafetu. Let's just be honest. We also don't take the same teacher. If they were to be taken to Redford, to be taken to St. David, they would be the best performing teacher ever, ever. They would be so great. But when you take them to a township school, all of a sudden, they drop the standards. That has to be said as well. It pains my heart to say it, but it must be said. It truly must be said. A lot of teachers don't take our kids seriously in the townships. They don't. They do not. And there are teachers who are working brilliantly, working very hard, their backs off to make sure that the schools achieve quite a lot. That happens. And I'm not talking about you. So don't take offense if I am saying that and you are doing the best that you are doing. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about these other ones. Oh, wow, guys, let's take ourselves seriously. You know, if we did that, if we instilled a culture of learning and teaching, if we turned a school into a beautiful institution of learning, into an academic, atmospheric scene where we can engage, exchange ideas, kids look forward to go to the teachers, and that doesn't necessarily need money. It's a subculture that we instill. But a lot of our schools don't have that. Let's just be honest for a second with each other. We don't have that because we don't take ourselves seriously. Then we are in a hurry to take our kids elsewhere because we think that those schools are better, whilst we could be doing better here in the townships. 6 to 10. Let's take Willie in Olivedale. Willie, hi.
Good morning, Thabo. I'm sorry to say this, man, because I've got a house and I live comfortably. But I can tell you the government will never sort out this informal settlement thing. As long as they build houses with yards. What happened? You build houses with a yard. In no time, that yard is full of shacks again. It's a money-making thing, man. That's what's happening at the informal settlements also. A lot of people got houses. They let out their houses. They build. Wherever there's a settlement, they go there and they get a house. So I think the best thing is just build flats, man, and you can't say people can't afford it because in the north people are paying 6,000-7,000 a month for flats and they pay it. I don't know. So the best problem to solve this housing thing is to just build flats and let people stay in flats. As long as you go to Freedom Park, go all the places where the government built houses. You hardly see that house. It's covered by shacks. So you tell me how they're going to solve this problem. Because those people in future must also get houses, those people in the yard.
No, but really, agreed. But you have to also concede that it's not everyone who lives in a shack who's got a house elsewhere. A lot of people are also desperate. I can't imagine a mother. Sure. But I'm also making a point after you've made yours,
but
right?
Just a suggestion,
Willie, we're not fighting.
Building houses.
We're not fighting, Willie.
What I see,
Willie, we are not fighting. Allow me to allow me to say I've allowed you to finish. The fact that I may differ slightly doesn't mean we are fighting. I'm just expressing another point. If you agree with it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. Very briefly, all I was saying is that I do not imagine a mother wanting their child to be raised in a shack, in a very dangerous place where there's no safety and security. I don't think a mother or a father, any sane mother or father wants to do that. So there are instances where people are forced into situations. But I also agree, if we do better in monitoring all these mushrooming of shanty towns and informal settlements, we would be able to, have a safer and a more structured country that we want. That's all that I'm saying, Willie.
Okay, thank you. No, it was just a suggestion, but what I'm trying to say, Thabo, As I say, I feel for those people because I've got a house, I live properly. But the thing is this, what's the use of building houses to house the people, and in no time that yard is full of informal settlements? In future, those people are also going to fight. They want houses. Now, how's the government going to solve that problem?
Yeah.
Go to places where it was informal settlements before. The government built houses. Go back to those places now. You hardly see that house. It's surrounded by shacks. Now, what you tell me now? Are those people? I don't know. Sorry to...
No. Willie, you've got a right to express. I'm the one who invited you to call, and you called.
Yeah.
Whether I agree with your view or not, it's valid, and I must treat it as that. Yeah. Thanks, man.
No,
Thanks.
what I'm trying to say, Thabo, is just a suggestion I'm making to solve the housing problem.
I got you. Willie, thanks very much. 2 minutes to 10. Thank you.
Part of the 702 family.
Hi, I'm Katlego Mosue. I'm a 23-year-old boy from Johannesburg, South Bosonia. And I love listening to 702 because it is informative and it keeps us up to date with current affairs.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
This is a message from Johannesburg Water. Water infrastructure vandalism has tragic and dangerous consequences. The theft of manhole covers can result in fatalities, especially among children. Each damaged pipe, illegal hookup, or vandalized pipe jeopardizes access to clean water, disrupts service, and threatens public safety. Report suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg at 0800 002 587. That's 0800 002 587. Help combat water infrastructure vandalism. Your alertness can prevent disasters. Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
Meetings Africa is celebrating 20 years in 2026. Over the years, Meetings Africa has connected Africa to the world through a consistent showcase of Africa's diverse offering of services and products in the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibition sector. Join us at the Sandton Convention Center from the 23rd to 25th February 2026. Register at www.meetingsafrica.co.za. Brought to you by South African Tourism.
Guess what? The Dis-Chem 2+1 Health Foods Weekend is back. And this time, it's better than ever. Simply pick any 3 of your favorite healthy foods and get the cheapest one free. Look out for the Better Rewards icon and score an extra 10% off Better Rewards brands. On top of the promo, we're talking anything from muesli, oats, sauces, spices, healthy snacks, free-from foods, and more. Don't miss Dis-Chem's 2+1 Health Foods Weekend, Friday 27 February to Sunday 1 March. Only at Dis-Chem, better health starts here.
It's 10 o'clock, time for Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The ANC says it expects Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana to retract previous announcements to raise taxes when he tables the 2026 budget in Parliament this afternoon. After his hand was forced by political parties to withdraw a planned value-added tax increase a year ago, Godongwana indicated that tax hikes may be still necessary this year if revenue doesn't meet spending demands. But his own party wants to see the opposite and for him to bring some relief to personal income tax by adjusting brackets in line with inflation. Lindsay Dentlinka reports.
It's widely expected that Minister Enoch Godongwana won't be making any surprising tax moves this year after the backlash he received last year that resulted in him delaying the budget tabling by 3 months. The ANC says it expects him to announce that revenue has improved thanks to bolstered capacity at the Revenue Service to ensure stronger tax compliance rather than further burden the working class. Luthuli House says protecting the social wage remains paramount, with more than 60% of consolidated spending going towards health, education, social protection and employment programs. Government has already announced that the Social Relief of Distress grant will continue into 2027, while a plan to convert it into a basic income grant is still awaited. The party says it believes the country is standing at a distinct point where stability is returning and confidence is growing. This year's budget, it says, must now convert the stability into faster growth, more jobs and functional municipalities. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Political fixer Brian Mogotsi says he doesn't believe alleged crime kingpin Vusmuzi Matlala is part of the Big Five crime syndicate. Mogotsi also says he doesn't think Matlala, who is currently behind bars, is a criminal. Mogotsi was responding to questions yesterday about his relationship with Matlala during his testimony before Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating police corruption. Babalondenze reports.
Brian Mogotsi was questioned about his links to Vusmuzi Matlala after telling MPs that he was also investigating him. He was also asked by ANC Chief Whip Mdumiseni Ntuli why he would cozy up to someone he was investigating.
Why are you so cozy, very close to the extent that you acquire favors to the person that you are actually and effectively investigating because he is part of a particular criminal network in our country?
But Mogotsi says he didn't see anything ethically wrong with taking money from Matlala despite investigating him. He also dismissed claims that Matlala is linked to the criminal underworld.
I do not believe Ket Matlala is a member of a particular, this Big Five and stuff. And the part where I assisted him, there's nothing to do with his criminality or anything.
Mogotsi says Matlala told him he was being harassed by members of the political killings task team and he was merely helping him register his case with the police. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
A report by the Basic Education Department has found that 15% of grade 3 learners in the country scored 0 on reading assessments. This means the pupils are unable to decode a single word by the end of the 3rd grade of their formal schooling. The report examined reading outcomes of grades 1 to 4 pupils in all home languages. Jabulile Mbata has more.
The report has revealed that only 30% of learners can read at a grade 3 level in their home languages, while in some languages, only 25% of grade 3 cannot read a single word. The panel's chairperson, Phumzile Mlambo Ngcuka, says the report shows the scale of the challenge and emphasizes that intervention is needed urgently. She added that early childhood development is key to dealing with this problem. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News.
And operations are returning to normal at Cape Town International Airport following a fire. The blaze broke out in the international inner lane yesterday. Airport Company South Africa says some manual processing remains in place while power and most systems have been restored. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Gold is trading at $5,190.51 an ounce. The rand is at 15.95 to the dollar, 21.53 to the pound, 18.79 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $71.19 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Germiston, we've got roadworks taking place on the N17 East, right between Osborne Road and the Wren Airport interchange, causing heavy traffic volumes. There's also queuing traffic on the N12 and the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 27 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The ANC says it expects Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana to retract previous announcements to raise taxes when he tables the 2026 budget in Parliament this afternoon.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Six minutes after 10 o'clock. Thanks very much for staying with us. You're on 702. My name is Thabo Shola Mashao. I'm in for Clement Manyathela, who's not feeling well. He ought to be back tomorrow, and I'm sure he will be feeling much, much better. Clem, get well soon. 6 after 10, the show continues from now till past. I'd want us to cast our eyes on the budget speech that will be delivered this afternoon by Mr. Enoch Godongwana, who is the finance minister in South Africa. There are a couple of issues to consider around the budget, of course, and this year it's the second cycle under the Government of National Unity. And experts say they don't expect a value-added tax VAT hike despite fiscal pressures. And the minister is more likely to avoid tabling a proposal for higher VAT after public sentiments and the political opposition forced him to withdraw a hike in 2025. Treasury later made expenditure adjustments to cover a projected shortfall of 75 billion rand, as you would remember. But today, what are you looking forward to as an ordinary South African? What should the minister focus on? Remember, and I'm not asking that in a very flimsical way, simply because the budget affects you directly. Directly. What are your priorities? Where do you think government should be spending more? Where do you think they should be spending less? You are the end recipient of what would be taking place. We've lined up a number of political parties and leaders to speak to us from now till past in order for us to make sense of the budget, but also to get their expectations of what the minister will be tabling later today. 8 after 10, feel free to participate on 011-883-0702.
For more about 702,
go to primemediaplus.com.
We start off with Mark Burke from the Democratic Alliance, where he's the finance spokesperson. Mark, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702. Good morning. Mark, let's try one more time. Second time lucky. You there, Mark?
I'm here, and it's good to be with you, Tabu.
Great of you to join us, Mark. Really appreciate it. You speak on finance for the DA. I was just wondering, Mark, as part of the GNU, how much influence do you have as the DA in shaping the final product that the minister will be putting on the table this afternoon?
It's a good question. We have 22% of the votes in Parliament, but we also bring the votes that the ANC would need to get a budget across the line within this coalition government. So I would say with the ANC at 39% of the votes in Parliament, we've got more influence than we've ever had, and they simply aren't able to do it themselves anymore.
And you said that as the DA, you are expecting less drama this year's budget. And of course, you could have been alluding to the previous brouhaha around the VAT matter. But what concrete policy shifts would signal to you that this is a credible, growth-orientated budget rather than just a simply survival budget under the fiscal pressure?
It's a great question. And in your intro, you mentioned that the listeners and South Africans are the recipients of this budget. But I would also point out that they are the contributors to this budget in the form of taxation. And the fact is we need to balance these two things carefully. It is not our take that spending cuts should be implemented that affect, for example, social spending. In fact, we need to spend a lot more efficiently to serve people. But on the receiving side, we cannot put South Africans under more pressure. If we do not adjust the tax brackets this year, it will be the third year in a row that the tax brackets are kept the same, which is entirely unsustainable. What that means for your average South African is if they were to get a small increase in salary, that might push them into the next tax bracket, and they'll just lose the increase to increased taxation through this tax bracket creep. Likewise, the burden placed on small businesses to register for VAT at a 1 million rand threshold has not been updated since 2008, which is almost 2 decades. And if you had adjusted that amount for inflation over time, it would now be 2.5 million rand. So we can't say that we're thinking of South Africans trying to innovate, trying to build things to get out of dire circumstances, and then not adjust these brackets as we should. So the DA's view is that we need to be enabling South Africans. We're already overtaxing them. We need to make our spending a lot more efficient, and we need to make sure that we're serving people with the money that we do collect, and that the money that we do collect does not suffocate people in the process.
Well, quickly, before I say goodbye, and with that, I'll allow Dr. Maimane to come through shortly, but I'm keen to know from your side, the online betting space has been a talking point in the finance space for quite some time, especially around issues of taxation. A lot of stakeholders have expressed the fact that they are not taxed as they ought to be, because there's also an element of non-geolocked. That means that they could trade in any other country and bring money here, and for whatever reason, there would be an oversight in taxing them appropriately. Mark?
It's a great question. It's something that the DA is very exercised about. What you also haven't mentioned now, which is important, is there's a bit of regulatory arbitrage going on, and that these online betting companies are getting provincial licenses and then rolling out the services nationally.
Yeah.
So I think we need to get a lot more serious, and I would also point out that there's now data coming out of people using their social grants, and a big chunk thereof to spend on online betting. And so I think we have a societal problem that's almost of epidemic nature, and we need to be very exercised about finding suitable solutions for that, and that might very well be multifaceted. And the DA is very excited about this. I would love, if you have Action SA later on the show, that you also ask them the same question.
It's an election year, isn't it? Dr. McBurg, DA Finance Spokesperson, chatting to us about how their preview of the budget and what is it that they would consider priorities for Enoch Godongwana, the Minister of Finance, to put forward as he will be tabling the budget this afternoon. 12 minutes after 10 o'clock, you're on 702.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Tourette's syndrome. You probably heard about what happened at the BAFTA Awards. A guy by the name of John Davidson screamed out the N-word while two black artists were delivering an award, and he's very sorry. Heather says Tourette's is uncontrolled expletives. It is not just a racial outburst. The question I'm asking is it a revelation of what somebody truly feels about people? Why doesn't the Tourette's syndrome tick become a positive tick?
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702. Meetings Africa is celebrating 20 years in 2026. Over the years, Meetings Africa has connected Africa to the world through a consistent showcase of Africa's diverse offering of services and products in the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibition sector. Join us at the Sandton Convention Center from the 23rd to 25th February 2026. Register at www.meetingsafrica.co.za. Brought to you by South African Tourism.
If you're looking for that new year, new car moment, then look no further than the Haval H6. With the super spacious interior and family-friendly features like auto-lift tailgate and intuitive voice command, the Haval H6 is available from only $6,499 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM, go with more. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
15 minutes after 10 o'clock. Welcome back. You're on 702. We continue with our discussions with various political parties around the budget speech that is expected to be delivered by the Minister of Finance this afternoon. Nhlamulo Ndlela speaks on behalf of Mkhonto weSizwe Party, and he joins us right now to give us his thoughts and views ahead of the budget. Nhlamulo, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to 702.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
Any immediate takeaways that you would prefer as MK on the budget? Any perhaps three priorities? I'm sure there'd be many, but we're speaking to various parties. That's why we are limiting time in Nhlamulo. Three key areas for you that you feel they are a definite must as MK.
Look, firstly, we still have an austerity budget, and you cannot grow an economy with an austerity budget. But also, the other issue is we have such a small tax base that's supposed to fund a developmental agenda state such as ours, and you cannot. So we need to increase the tax base. And what we need to do, we expect that a government that is progressive and puts together a progressive budget would ensure that they invest money in infrastructure. Infrastructure would then, in effect, have a domino effect into job creation, into productivity in the country, which is what we need and which we don't have. So when you have, infrastructure, and you then have small businesses, in effect, become the voters, the momentum for any economic growth because, they are the catalyst for job creation. So that's the other. Then you have to look at the issue of beneficiation of our raw materials and raw minerals. Our people, if you look at a report that was done by Mr. Sachs a couple of years back, if not 2-3 years back, he said that in this era, South Africans have had the least amount of beneficiation in the history of this country. So if you're seeing what's happening in these countries, there is no industrialization. There is no, taking of our raw materials and processing those so effectively manufacturing. We're exporting minerals, outside of the country and at pretty much close to nothing. So we need to change that model and bring about proper infrastructure, proper industrialization strategy. But also, you cannot do that if you don't have electricity. So, we need to expand on that network, and there needs to be a budget to ensure that, because no economy can ever flourish, especially if you're going into the digital age, where you also expect a 24-hour economy to flourish and to grow if there is no proper infrastructure.
Yeah, before I say goodbye to Nhlamulo, SRD, Social Relief Distress Grant, what do you make of those, especially given that it's an election year this year? Is that some sort of a tool or a necessity given the current socioeconomic climate in the country?
Our people are tired of always having to receive handouts. What our people need is an opportunity to actually bring back their dignity by way of a job. So as it pertains to social relief distress grant, that is something that we know our people still depend on, but that's the problem. This problem of dependency is what is actually killing our people. Our people want jobs. They don't want handouts. And we're saying you need to come up with a budget that ensures economic stimulation for job creation, not just focusing on grants, but job stimulation and job creation for our people.
Nhlamulo Ndlela, thanks very much. Nhlamulo speaks on behalf of the MK Party. 19 minutes after 10 o'clock. In a short while, we will then go straight to Mabine Siabe, who is speaking on behalf of Rise Mzansi, and he will also share with us the thoughts, thinking, and insights of his party as regards to the budget. You're on 702.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Mabine Siabe joins us right now. He speaks on behalf of Mzansi, Rise Mzansi, and he joins us. Right, Mzansi, why do I call him Mzansi Mabine? Hi, Mabine. I'm sure you don't mind that because the brand of the party gets to grow the more we mention Mzansi. Good morning. I hope you're
well. Good morning to you and the listeners.
On a serious note, Mabine, 61% of the budget is towards the social wage, and that is much of a concern. And that could also translate in the fact that there isn't any interest attached to that particular percentage. What do you make of that as a take-off to the budget?
You highlight an important problem that we have with the budget. Rise Mzansi has been consistent in hammering on.
Mabine, I lost you for a second. I don't know if you're still there. On my side, it looks like everything is okay. I don't know, you have perhaps tapped on mute by mistake on your phone. Okay, let's try Mabine one more time. Mabine, you there? On my side, all is well. And it could be on his side. It looks like he's back. Is he back? No. Mabine is not back. I will try to get him back shortly. It's 21 after 10 o'clock. We've been speaking to various political parties about their expectations of the budget to be presented by Mr. Enoch Godongwana this afternoon. Without any further ado, it looks like he's back. Mabine, hi. Second time lucky?
Yes, I'm back. As I was stating that you highlight a very important issue where Rise Mzansi has stated that we have a problem with the composition of the budget, whereas 90% of the budget goes to paying salaries, social grants, as well as debt servicing costs, which means that there's only around 2 billion rand in the budget left for developmental needs, that is infrastructure and so on. And that is absolutely not enough, because just when you look at water infrastructure, which is a huge issue, not just in Joburg, but across the country, there's an infrastructure backlog of around 200 billion rand, which means that we're playing a losing game. So ultimately what the budget needs to do, it needs to set out priorities, it needs to make choices, it needs to say, what are we investing in today and what can we leave for later?
Where can we get that from? Suppose super tax, would that be something that Mzansi, Rise Mzansi would consider? Perhaps companies tax, where should we get that revenue from?
We as Rise Mzansi have stated previously that, if we fix rail, we fix water, and we fix electricity, that would add approximately 3% to the GDP. So we need to fix that, which means that those are the choices that we make. That must be where we invest. And in the last budget, we supported greater investment in SAPS, for example, which resulted in an additional 20 billion rand being collected, which means that if we get the right systems in place to ensure that SAPS is able to collect money, and that we also look at stopping wastage in the system, then we can find this money to plug the holes. Moreover, Rise Mzansi has advocated for reforms in gambling taxes, and we have made a submission to National Treasury, and we are saying that around 10 billion rand extra can be collected from gambling houses if we put the necessary regulations in place.
You are now in the GNU. Do those proposals carry weight? Do they find resonance in the bigger pool of parties that are participating to run or govern the country?
Yes, indeed. The minister as well as the president have been very generous in listening to the proposals made by parties within the government of national unity. In the last budget, we had stated that PRASA needs greater investment to ensure that, for instance, a train from Naledi to Johannesburg no longer takes 45 minutes, but in fact it rather takes 15 minutes. So we saw that investment in PRASA to ensure that the signaling system can be upgraded. This is no longer a budget of the ANC. This is a budget of the government of the Republic of South Africa. This is a budget of the people of South Africa, and the needs and wants of the people of South Africa must therefore find expression in the budget, which we're starting to see.
Mabine, thank you so much for your time. Mabine Siabe is spokesperson for Rise Mzansi Party. 24 after 10.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Dr. Musi Maimane leads Build One South Africa Party, and he joins us to also share his insights on the budget expected to be tabled this afternoon. Dr. Maimane, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702. I hope you're well.
Good morning, and good morning to fellow Joburgers. It's great to be on with you, Thabo, and I look forward to our conversation.
Immediately, what comes to mind when the budget is going to be tabled? Does Build One South Africa have some takeaways that they would want to have immediately after the speech? And I'm saying that on the backdrop, Musi, of the fact that you are also chairing a very important committee, and the budget at some point must be rubber-stamped by your committee.
Of course. So there are a couple of key things. One is we frame this budget as the governing is about making choices. The most important choice that we need to make today is whether or not we prioritize politicians or we prioritize citizens. South Africa is a dangerous place. There were, in the last quarter, 74 murders per day, which begs the question, how much more are we going to invest in security? Some level you can deploy the army, which is going to be a budget item table today. But at another level, you've got over a number of detectives that are missing, which means how do we investigate crime and make sure that the criminals are locked away? So today must be fundamentally about whether we're going to find an additional billion rand that must go into security. Because if we don't secure the country, no investment flows into that. No, it becomes harder and harder for people to just do their normal business and get to and from work. So that's the first item. The second is, of course, it's always important that we fund, when you prioritize people, two basic items, education and healthcare. Now, the healthcare one is delayed because NHI will take a number of years. But on the education front, I'll be looking carefully to see how much allocation is made particularly to provinces like Gauteng and many others, where we know that young people are left outside of school. We know that school infrastructure is low. We know that over 500 schools don't even offer mathematics as a subject, which means you can't shortchange the future of your children by underfunding education. And then, like everybody, GDP growth is but one component of the marker we'll be looking at. But I really want to emphasize the next indicator, which is the most important, which is gross capital formation. What is the rate of investment that people make in the country? Because if people are not investing in South Africa, putting up factories, making sure that there's construction taking place, looking for new minerals, you can forget GDP growth. So the gross capital formation question is fundamental because as our stock exchange has done well, that money cannot be externalized. That money must be reinvested in the country. And if there are laws that make it hard for people to invest in this country, we must deal with those laws because our urgent crisis is that whether we pass young people or we've got people in South Africa, those South Africans must find work.
Clearly, we need to invest more into energy, as you would know, Musi. Electricity is a big issue, but water of recent, especially in and around Johannesburg, has become a critical issue around which people are very concerned. In some instances, cities, suburbs, and townships have been going on without water for 3 or 4 days. Clearly, the budget needs to speak to those critical everyday issues as well.
Water is a story of corruption, Thabo, and I think sometimes we try and sugarcoat it and call it something else. The president admits, he says, municipalities, which is the job of reticulating water. It's not about building of more dams. That has already been established. It's not the Lesotho Highlands project. It is about the corruption that we have seen in municipalities. If Johannesburg cannot be able to bill for 40% of its non-revenue water, they call it non-revenue water, which is fundamentally water lost through leakages, etc., etc., it is the crisis. And if municipalities have failed at the maintenance question, you've got to ask where did that money go to. So I would urge that when we talk water, we must also synonymize it with corrupt governments that have been elected in many of our towns, because those governments, had we seal off the pipes, make sure that we reduce leakages, make sure that we join international benchmarking, which if you go to other parts of the world, non-revenue water leakages is close to less than 10% of water that is procured. And therefore, it becomes an important issue. The second is, of course, as provinces, as various places are wanting to invest in that infrastructure, it cannot be also additional opportunity for people to benefit from such contracts. We are in an emergency of water because water is a human right. So the building of reservoirs, etc., requires that you have cities who are able to maintain the water the water infrastructure, so the piping that goes in, and then ultimately finish the last loop of the exercise, which is about let the money that people consume pay back so that citizens are paying for a service they're receiving.
And the budget element of that would be that maintenance, especially around water, because aging infrastructure also plays a critical role. And if it's not budgeted accordingly, we will have these endless interruptions because of infrastructure that is aging and with lack of proper and constant maintenance.
No, there's no doubt about that. But municipalities, we need to rethink how we finance municipalities. So today, when the Minister of Finance tables what is called the Division of Revenue Bill, which is how do we allocate money across these spheres, the question of saying to municipalities they must get 9% or 10% of the budget is simply insufficient, because the law, the white paper on local government, proposed that municipalities must raise 90% of their revenue and get 10% from national. We need to review that. People are not buying electricity like they used to. They're not buying water like they used to. So bulk services that go into municipalities are poor. So we need to fund municipalities better, but it must be money after good, not money after corruption.
Before I say goodbye, in just 20 seconds, is there a scenario under which you would not put a stamp of approval on that budget in the appropriations committee which you chair?
Yeah, it would be if we favored politicians ahead of the people and undermined our growth prospects. So vanity projects that are electioneering, that's not about the people, that's about politics. Let's focus on the people.
And some would say that's every year, but that's a story for another day. Dr. Musi Maimane, thanks very much for your time. 29 minutes to 11 o'clock. Sfiso Zulu is standing by to give us the very latest on Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning one more time, Sfiso.
Thanks, Thabo. Good morning. Political parties say they expect no surprises from Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana when he tables the 2026 budget later this afternoon. They've also warned against any attempt to increase the tax rate, whether it's personal income tax or VAT. They expect Godongwana to deliver a budget that addresses weaknesses in the economy as well as the needs of the poor. The Matlanga Commission will not be sitting today after a witness who was due to appear says that he's ill, and the witness, who cannot be named at this stage, is believed to be a crime intelligence officer responsible for agents and informants within SAPS. He submitted a medical certificate to the commission saying he was unwell and cannot testify today. And a former intelligence chief in Sri Lanka has been arrested in connection with the 2019 Easter Sunday bombings that killed more than 200 people, including 45 foreigners. Police say retired Major General Suresh Saleh was taken into custody at dawn in a suburb of the capital Colombo in the most high-profile arrest in the long-running investigation. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling on the M1 North, we've got delays between the Boylston's Road exit and the Crown interchange. There's also queuing traffic along the M2 West between the Crown turn off and Main Reef Road. While travelling on the N17 West, do expect delays. In fact, heavy traffic volumes between Osborne Road and Wren Airport interchange. This is due to roadworks in the area. There's also queuing traffic on the N12 as well as the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
You have gone to court to have Shamila Batoy stripped of her privileges, of her pension. Why is this?
We want to emphasize to the public that a pension and related benefits are not an automatic entitlement. Where serious misconduct credibly alleged, as it happened at the Commission, the state is not only entitled but constitutionally obliged to post payment as properly resolved. So accordingly, we have demanded the President to withhold pension, gratuity and post-tenure benefits pending the determination of Mr. Batoy.
The Midday Report
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
This is financial year end.
This is financial year end supercharged with the help of Zero Small Business Accounting Software.
This is you talking to your accountant or bookkeeper.
This is you talking to your accountant or bookkeeper with the help of Zero Small Business Accounting Software. So supercharge your business with the help of Zero and blast past financial year-end stress. Try Zero free for 30 days. Terms apply. Search Zero with an X.
Solve exciting riddles and unravel a web of suspense and adventure with Hollywood Bets and Spinners on Game Mystery Parcel. You stand a chance to win a share of 1 million rand in cash and bonus bets. Start your quest and bet 2 rand or more on selected Playtech slots every Wednesday between 2:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. and Sunday from 4:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. What scintillating secret will your parcel reveal? Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Meetings Africa is celebrating 20 years in 2026. Over the years, Meetings Africa has connected Africa to the world through a consistent showcase of Africa's diverse offering of services and products in the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibition sector. Join us at the Sandton Convention Center from the 23rd to 25th February 2026. Register at www.meetingsafrica.co.za. Brought to you by South African Tourism.
When the Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702, brings you Z, Focalistic, Dali Wonga, Zoe Mudiga, and more. Fashion, art, and music will take center stage. And so can you by playing the daily Mahindra Fusion Fest quiz on 702 for up to 10,000 Rand and 2 tickets to the fest. WhatsApp the keyword Mahindra to 072-702-1702 with your name and ID number. Every day this week from 1 p.m., 702 afternoons with Rebukile Mabucha could call you back. The Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
For more about 702,
Go to primemediaplus.com.
24 minutes to 11 o'clock. Thanks very much for joining us. Thabo Shole Mashao. We're together till 12 o'clock. Great having you with us. And in this segment, we would like just to pay some bit of attention on the two sessions that are underway. The ad hoc committee in Parliament will kick off with that one, and then subsequently we'll go to the Madlanga Commission, especially paying focus on what took place yesterday. As you know, that Brown Mokhotsi, a self-proclaimed crime intelligence agent and entrepreneur, he revealed to Parliament yesterday that he had killed a man during a physical altercation. But equally so, Mokhotsi he was asked why he asked Cat Matlala for help when he had links to crime intelligence. To guide us through these conversations, Babalwa Ndenze is joining us, EW reporter, who needs no introduction at all. Babalwa, thanks for your time. Good morning. Welcome one more time.
Thanks, Thabo.
Babalwa, I would want us, just before we jump into the gist of what took place yesterday, including the things that I've just mentioned, can we just take a quick listen to this as Brown Mokhotsi was taken through the ropes?
Why did you have? It appears you had quite a lot of faith in Mr. Matlala, that you would go to him. I mean, you, on your own version, have been at crime intelligence since 2009. You spoke of operations where you were big operations and senior people that you were in touch with. You even had General Cibia that you were trying to get into your camp. Why would you go to Mr. Matlala for help? You have all the connections in the police.
Yeah, maybe there is a misconception here. Here is a tender that may have not been properly awarded. And this owner of the company, as you are engaging with him, he offers to assist in something. I could not reject that. It happened even here in Cape Town some time back, where some agent will be borrowed cars by drug dealers, and they report that this guy has offered to borrow me a car, I'm going where and where, I'm getting close to him, I'm working with him. It happens, but in this sense, he offered, and the man appeared in many platforms assisting different people. He was even seen with some people of the ANC, and it was not the first time he was funding that particular program.
Very interesting as Brown Mokhotsi responded to them. Babalwa, there seems to be a very clear and strong umbilical cord clearly supporting Brown Mokhotsi from Cat Matlala.
Yes, indeed. And just to add to what he just said now, he was also, put through the ropes by the evidence leader about another form of assistance or financial assistance from Cat Matlala in relation to a legal issue he had. He was, in and out of court with the health department over another issue, another tender that's unrelated to Cat Matlala's Medicare 24 tender. And he was in court and trying to fight this court case. And Cat Matlala, according to the recording that was played during the meeting, yesterday's meeting, showed this interview that he did with one of the programs on TV at Thabo, where he actually says and confirms that he did get assistance from Cat Matlala, to fund it, because this is a Supreme Court of Appeal. There was an SCA, the matter was up to the SCA, and he said, these kind of, court cases are very expensive, and Cat Matlala is the one that funded this case. But he denied this before the committee yesterday when this was brought to his attention, saying that, it was not actually Cat himself personally who assisted us legally. It was someone else who helped us, whether it was either pro bono work or would fund our legal team. So he does have definitely, a connection to Cat Matala, but he's downplaying it to the extent where he says, anyway, to the extent where he denies that Matala actually gave him money directly for some of these issues.
Does that in any way vindicate the Commissioner of Police in KwaZulu-Natal in his accusations against the two and their connections?
Yeah, he is somewhat vindicated, Sakam Kwanazi. And he's, it goes a bit further, Thabo. He's also vindicated as far as those accusations by Brown Mokhotsi that Mkwanazi is, an agent of the CIA. He even apologized yesterday for that because he has no evidence before the committee, and he withdrew that allegation or that submission. And it's quite a lengthy submission in his written statement. So he is conceding, and he is basically, admitting that, he was in fact, getting gratuity from Cat Matlala, who at the time, was also working with the police as far as a service provider is concerned. But, just like Shadrack Cibia, he's saying that, this tender had not been awarded yet, or there was no finality in the tender with Cat Matlala. So he's questioning this allegation of a conflict of interest. And we know that, Cat Matlala through Brown Mokhotsi also assisted in other payments to ANC delegates, for January 8 celebrations, for example, as well as other issues related to the Minister on Suspension or Minister on Special Leave, Senzo Mchunu. So, the case is definitely there. Whether he denies it or not, I think the committee is sitting with a lot of evidence that supports, this claim or this allegation.
He, Brown Mokhotsi, that is, had also made allegations earlier about Mkwanazi and King Misizulu being CIA agents. Before you respond to that, Babalwa, I just want us to take a quick listen to this.
Okay. Based on the statement, it means because there's no statement, I hereby withdraw.
We are
actually
giving you 1 minute to officially apologize to both General Mkwanazi and King Misizulu.
Yes, as I do so, I retract the statement of both General Mkwanazi and King Misizulu.
We are giving you 30 seconds to officially apologize. To officially apologize for having casted aspersions on the shoulders of both General Mkwanazi and King Misizulu of Amazulu.
Yes, I hereby apologize for casting aspersions.
Well, a bit of a dramatic day. Babalo, what do we make generally of Brown Mokhotsi? Because many of us have somehow concluded that he's one, inconsistent, two, not very generous with the truth, and three, highly implicated in those allegations. It's going to be very hard for him to just get himself out of this rigmarole of allegations that he's facing.
Yes, indeed. Even before yesterday's appearance, Brown Mokhotsi's credibility had been, questioned. He was called a liar at the Madlanga Commission last year, if you remember, by one of the evidence leaders. And just this retraction of his allegations against Mkwanazi and King Misizulu, just further cements this credibility issue that Brown Mokhotsi has. His credibility also questioned, from the beginning by members as well as, members at the EFF, Julius Malema, on whether he really is an agent of the crime intelligence, and also is he really a real entrepreneur. They were also questioning his professional side of things. So his credibility definitely out the door following this retraction of these serious allegations, where he says that in the execution of his mandate from the CIA,
yes,
General Mkwanazi on numerous occasions sent members of the PKTT to intimidate and harass people. So these are quite serious allegations, and it says that the royal house associated with Prince Smakate were the ones that were being targeted by the PKTT.
Yeah.
So I think this really does, further dent his credibility before the committee.
Before I say goodbye to you and release you, Babalo, to go and do your other work, so Brown Mokhotsi said something about access to classified info. Please share a bit about that, because that was a little bit disturbing.
Yes, he does, make this claim of his access to classified information. That the members were also, taken aback by this, because he's not someone that's, in a position to be handling any classified information. Also, him investigating people, or like Ntleka Mkhwanazi, he claims to have investigated him. I remember saying that he has no power to investigate anyone. He's not an agent of crime intelligence. He should have no access to this kind of information. And some of the things that he says, in his claims of being an agent could be, seen as perjury, because he says himself that he may have, misled or may have not said the truth in attempting to access certain information. So really this issue of his access to information of that nature is also, an issue that the committee, I suspect, as it goes forward, will also be taking into consideration.
EWN reporter Baba Lwandenze, thanks very much for your contribution. 14 minutes to 11 o'clock.
This is financial year end.
This is financial year end supercharged with the help of Zero Small Business Accounting Software. Try Zero free for 30 days. Terms apply. Search Zero with an X.
Bridge Builders invites you to an empowerment brunch on Saturday, 7th March at the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School. Join community leaders, change makers, and special keynote speaker, Speaker of Council in the city of Johannesburg, Margaret Arnolds, as we build bridges of hope. For info and tickets, call 078 054 0551. Bridge Builders, building bridges of hope for future generations.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion, because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours, and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. It's easy to apply. No medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Parallel to the ad hoc committee speaking to Brown Mokhotsi, the Madlanga Commission also had their fair share of the wrestling match with General Cibia, and he claimed that he was fighting the system. He also expressed heavily on the divisions that are existing within the leadership of the South African Police Service. He mentioned that one faction is for him and the other against him, but for a commissioner, provincial commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, and of course Fani Masemola. Very interesting indeed for that contrast to be made, but someone who's been following the story very closely, and every single blow-by-blow version of Madlanga Commission is none other than our own Oren Singh, EWN reporter. Oren, always a pleasure talking to you. I hope you're well. Good morning.
Good morning, Tabo. Always a pleasure speaking to you as well.
Did he tangle himself even more, or was he already in deep waters that nothing could have taken him lower? General Cibia, that is, at the Madlanga Commission, Oren.
I think a bit of both, Tabo. He coming into the commission testifying when he started last week. I think he was on the defensive, and he was going to be for most part of his testimony, given the evidence that had been presented before the Madlanga Commission. So he kind of tangled himself. He did confirm a lot of things that had been presented as evidence. The fact that Kat Matlala had visited his residence upon his invitation, although he claims that it was merely for Matlala to pick up his wife, who was at an engagement party for his son, and this happened in 2024. He also confirmed the links and the close relationship he has with his subordinate, Sergeant Fani Nkosi, who seemed to be this middleman that's been in the middle of exchanging messages between Shadrach Cibia, the likes of Vusi Muzi Kat Matlala, but also other people, such as a person by the name of Stephen Motsumi, whose name has come up throughout the commission. He did kind of entangle himself. He did confirm a lot of things. He did deny a lot of things as well, saying that he had never received and has never received money from the likes of Vusi Muzi Kat Matlala. So a lot coming out from his testimony, and we sat probably 4 hours over time yesterday because the commission wanted to kind of wrap up what Shadrack Cibia had to say.
And he claimed to be fighting the system, and he even said that the playing fields are not leveled. Before you respond to that, let's just take a quick listen to this, Oren, and I'll bring you in.
Much serious concern to me is that a press briefing was made. The next thing, my devices were taken. Then I got suspended, never allowed any access to anything, and being overwhelmed, like a shock and awe type of approach where we are being overwhelmed from different directions. Now, I'm being told now by the commission, I don't mean chair, by the evidence leader that you had ample time to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what they do, they paralyze you. They take your devices. After they take your devices, they see what is in your devices. They use it against you. What is in their devices, they took that. What is against them, let's say in such an Nkosi's phone, is removed, is being removed. The same way applies, like let's say, when Ket Matala's phone was found, certain chats were deleted and deleted and deleted. Now, you've got a complainant who is a complainant who investigates, and then who's the one now running all the investigation. The PKT, the same PKT that I'm being accused of attempting to disband is the one that is running, investigating me now. Now the report that came from Madanga that went to the president, the people that must investigate is still the same Kwanazi again. So now I feel really helpless and pushed in a corner. That's why I'm saying, Madam Evidence Leader, I understand you are an evidence leader, but the problem is that the answers that I'm answering here, you are more prolific or more of a very vicious advocate that is defending or representing General Mkhwanazi. It's not like coming out in both sides, because there's no good side of mine that is being brought up from whatever that I have, because I have nothing to show.
Oren, I am hearing perpetual victimhood, but also evasiveness when coming to answering straight answers.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Thabo. I think we have to look at this objectively.
Sure.
I think Shadrack Cibia raises a pertinent point in the fact that after the July 6th briefing, then the allegations made by General Mkhwanazi were then investigated thereafter. But from the other standpoint, they couldn't have investigated because they needed certain devices from the likes of Shadrack Cibia and Senzo Mchunu, the people they were probing, in order to further their investigations. So from that perspective, I hear both sides.
Yes.
But we need to remember as well, Thabo, that Shadrack Cibia did confirm that there's factionalism within SAPS.
Yes.
This is, and we've said it from the beginning, we've said this is a factional fight. It is a fight for power, and it's a fight over the slush fund. But let's go a little bit back. Let's look at prior to July 6th. What happened? And the thing that happened was the Inspector General of Intelligence issuing out this report that kind of suggested that the axe was going to fall on the National Police Commissioner, Fani Masimola, as well as Dumisani Khumalo, the head of crime intelligence. Now, we know that both Dumisani Khumalo and Fani Masimola are close allies of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. And this was related to, the IGI report was related to the purchase of a property through the slush fund worth 120 million rand. It came out in the media, and the media had published articles about this. And the IGI, the Imtiaz Faisal, then makes this report, and soon after this report is furnished to the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi comes out with this briefing. And in a way, it could be seen that this July 6th briefing was a way to divert attention away from Fani Masimola and Dumisani Khumalo. We saw what happened just prior to that as well, Dumisani Khumalo being arrested by IDAC for the irregular appointment of an official to a brigadier position within crime intelligence. But notwithstanding the fact that there is factionalism, and there has been within SAPS. So I hear Shadrack Cibia's argument that, we need to take into consideration the other side of the story. But at the end of the day, Thabo, what this spells for us, and South Africans can't get away from it, is that there's serious issues within SAPS, be it from Shadrack Cibia's side, be it from Nhlanhla Mkhonazi's side. Nhlanhla Mkhonazi is not the savior for SAPS as much as he's being touted to be. He's got skeletons. He was overnight given a promotion when the former president, Jacob Zuma, made him acting National Police Commissioner in 2011. Overnight, he jumped a rank from Major General to Lieutenant General. And a lot of people within SAPS from that era were upset about it.
Yes.
Because here's this young guy coming into the fray and is a political appointment by Jacob Zuma into acting National Police Commissioner, and yet a lot of people believe he didn't deserve that role at that time.
Yes.
But there's also several other things going on behind closed doors that people aren't aware of. And I think that at the end of the day, Shadrack Cibia had been in a corner from the time he started his testimony, but with good reason, because the evidence presented before us, and let's not take away from what the evidence suggests. They went into WhatsApp messages, they extracted voice notes, videos, documents that were sent, and that is all part of what the commission was set up to do. Establish a commission to go through the evidence that's being presented, and the evidence is overwhelming against Shadrack Cibia and others. And so he has been in a corner from the start. But I think as a whole, when we look at what the Madlanga Commission has been set up to do and whether it's going to essentially allow us to have a police system that is rid of corruption, that is there to serve the people, I don't think we're going to get that from the recommendations made by the Madlanga Commission come the end of March or the end of next month when they have to submit that report to President Cyril Ramaphosa.
Or in the implementation. But very quickly, you're raising a very critical point. I don't want us to lose it, Oren, because generally as South Africans, and you'll get into trouble for saying that Nhlanhla Mkhonazi is not a saint, because we look at politics and all issues in a dichotomous manner, that either someone is short or tall, black or white, and nothing else in between. And there's a lot of gray here that you are bringing our attention to. But Cibia also decries the fact that he's out of resources, or they're becoming very limited because of his suspension. Let's quickly listen to this and we'll come back and say goodbye to you, Oren.
I'm at war with the system.
Sorry, say that again?
I'm at war with the system. I was working, all was normal. I was going to work every day and having done nothing wrong. All of a sudden, one day, boom, there is a press conference. My name is mentioned, and then my name is mentioned also in allegations that don't need me. And the next thing, I am suspended, and now the stress also against me. So I found myself in that situation. To me, and when we say we are at war, as we speak, I'm at war fighting for my career now. I describe it that way. Even sitting here is war.
Oren, in closing 20 seconds.
Yeah, look, I don't think I feel sorry for Shadrack Cibia in the least. Here's a man decrying the fact that he's had to outlay so much money to represent himself legally, both in the commission and out of it in other court battles. But we know for a fact that he's not shy of cash. Yesterday he put it out there that he's had several businesses open in his name to try and supplement his income. And being a lieutenant general within SAPS is not a job that is going to pay you a very little, Thabo, if I could put it that way. So I don't feel sorry for him. I think he's well within his means to fight this case. Whether he wins it or not and what the outcome of the recommendations by the commission, we'll have to wait and see.
Oren Singh with EWN, exactly 11 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Political parties say they expect no surprises from Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana when he tables the 2026 budget this afternoon. They've also warned against any attempt to increase the tax rates, whether it's personal income tax or VAT. They expect Godongwana to deliver a budget that addresses weaknesses in the economy as well as the needs of the poor. Babalo Ndenze has more from Parliament.
Political parties say they won't tolerate a repeat of last year when Minister Enoch Godongwana announced a VAT increase. The matter caused divisions in the GNU and ended up before the courts before the idea was eventually abandoned by National Treasury. IFP Chief Whip Nhlanhla Hadebe says he doesn't expect any surprises, but rather a budget that funds key programs.
We are not expecting any surprises this year. We are optimistic that it's all systems go, and the government of national unity on the side of cooperation and working together is stable.
Parties like the EFF and Action SA have also voiced their opposition to any tax adjustments and want Godongwana to prioritize the economy, education and the social safety net. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen has squared off with political foe, the Action SA's Ethel Trollip, in the National Assembly over his handling of the foot and mouth outbreak. Trollip, who has been a vocal critic of Steenhuisen's response to the disease, especially the state-controlled vaccination program, has continued to insist that vaccine delivery has been delayed. But Steenhuisen says Trollip's claims are false and is standing by his plan to vaccinate the entire national herd, saying it will eventually lead to the country being completely free of the disease. Lindsay Dentlinker takes a look.
After measured responses to Ethel Trollip's questions in a portfolio committee meeting earlier in the day, the gloves came off in the afternoon plenary session after Trollip accused Minister John Steenhuisen of being too slow to procure and roll out vaccines. But Steenhuisen hit back at his party's former parliamentary leader, saying last Saturday's shipment of 1 million doses is the largest consignment of animal vaccines to ever arrive in the country, and more are on the way.
1.5 million vaccines from Turkey, which will beat the record of the largest number of single vaccines. What have you done in this House for the last 20 years that you've sat here? You've done nothing about foot and mouth disease.
Despite several interruptions from opposition party MPs who took jibes at controversy surrounding Steenhuisen's party leadership, he took it on the chin.
I'm very happy to be called Uber Eats because unlike those members, I know a little bit about delivery. They couldn't deliver if they tried.
Steenhuisen says he's undeterred by the criticism and remains confident that his strategy will eradicate the disease. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Madlanga Commission will not be sitting today after a witness who was due to appear this morning fell sick. The witness, who cannot be named at this stage but is believed to be a crime intelligence officer, says that he cannot appear due to feeling unwell. Chairperson Buseni Madlanga has adjourned the commission for tomorrow.
This hearing that aborted until tomorrow at 9:30.
9:30, Chair.
9:30. We have no other business. That means we adjourn for the day.
And a former intelligence chief in Sri Lanka has been arrested in connection with the 2019 Easter Sunday bombings that killed more than 200 people, including 45 foreigners. Police say retired Major General Suresh Saleh was taken into custody at dawn in a suburb of the capital, Colombo, in the most high-profile arrest in the long-running investigation. The coordinated bombings started at three market hotels in the capital, 2 Roman Catholic churches and other Protestant churches outside Colombo. The attacks were blamed on a homegrown jihadist group. Gold is trading at $5,190.51 an ounce. The rand is at 15.95 to the dollar, 21.53 to the pound, 18.79 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $71.19 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M1 South approaching the Baku interchange. There's also queuing traffic in Bedford View along the N3 North between the Van Buren Road exit and the Kirulis interchange. While travelling in Centurion, do expect heavy traffic volumes on the N14 North between the Brockfontein interchange and Littleton Road.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 27 and 29 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Political parties say they expect no surprises from Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana when he tables the 2026 budget this afternoon.
EWN In touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Six minutes after 11 o'clock. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome back. You are on 702. No, it's not Clement. He's not feeling well for today. I'm just stepping in until he recovers. And my name is Thabo Sholamashao. I'm always thrilled to spend time with you. I love your thoughts on various issues that we are raising. We spoke about school fees a little bit earlier on in the open line, that it's so expensive, but there are individuals as well who do not want to pay and are exploiting the system. But not that it's cheap at all. We then had a chat with various political parties about the upcoming budget speech by Mr. Enoch Godongwana, the finance minister, this afternoon. What are the critical issues that he should be addressing? We spoke to Rise Mzansi, Build One South Africa, MK Party, and the Democratic Alliance. And I'd love to hear your views on all that and more. And in the previous half hour, we had a chat about Brian Mogotsi appearing before the ad hoc committee in Parliament, and General Shadrach Cibia, who appeared parallelly so at the Madlanga Commission as well. And we spoke to our reporters, Orin Singh and Babalan Denze, respectively. In this half hour, we have sourced the services and expertise of Professor Somadota Fikeni, who needs no introduction at all. He's a commissioner of Public Service Commission. We want to delve into this phenomena of public servants who conveniently resign when they're facing a disciplinary hearing or it's impending, and they would just then leave the system. What happens then? And that trend is very, very disturbing. What happens to accountability under that particular circumstance? He's here to share his wisdom with us. 8 minutes after 11. Feel free to join in the conversation at any point on 011-883-0702.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Yeah, like I was saying, that the South Africa's public service is once again under scrutiny. Not only because of allegations of misconduct in various departments, but because of a growing pattern. Officials seem to resign, and they seem to resign before disciplinary processes can run their full course. And most recently, just as some form of example, attention has to be turned to the Department of Social Department, where a chief of staff recently resigned amid mounting controversy and scrutiny. And while resignations can sometimes be framed as taking accountability, because we often ask ourselves in the media, why does he not resign as such? They also raise a critical question. Does stepping down bring closure, or does it effectively halt internal disciplinary processes before findings can be made? 9 after 11. Professor Somadota Fikeni joins us right now. Prof, always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for making time to spend some insights with us. I hope you're well.
I'm fine. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that you invite us to share some of the issues in the public service, because I believe that the public ought to know and be engaged on some of these issues as we are waiting for the budget speech. Should we have a capable, ethical state, I bet my last cent you wouldn't have the inefficiencies that lead us to have such a deficit and sometimes expenditure that is misdirected if you had that capacity of the state and it had the integrity.
Resigning before a disciplinary hearing or its outcomes Is it a form of escapade or accountability, Prof?
There are two types of this. There was a time when people were being chased even when they had nothing and cooked up charges because they want that person who has been an obstruction to their corruption to be out of the system. Some are suspended, no charges, and so forth. So some people will then realize that the system is rigged in many ways and resign because it becomes very difficult to be re-employed when you have that thing which says you were actually fired and you may not even recover some of your pensions. But a majority of cases, you have people who have done wrong and they realize that I have to jump the ship and avoid accountability so that I reappear in another job, refurbished, and start again, sometimes do the same thing again.
And from your office perspective, how prevalent is this phenomena?
It is quite prevalent. In fact, the problem is that the disciplinary cases are so decentralized. They take place in different departments, different provinces, and we do not have a centralized data system. But right now we are working towards having that kind of an integrated data and biometric systems that feed into that data, so that an employee who is facing charges, serious charges for that matter, and an employee who then is suspended or resigns before the verdict of a disciplinary, that data should still capture the information. Right now, the reform of the Z83 towards people declaring themselves, have you been suspended, have you faced disciplinary? It's a step in the right direction, but an integrated biometric system which simply records those, and in fact, whenever you want to open the ID of that person or their parcel number, it will tell that this person has gone through the following. Then we won't have the kinds of problems that we have, where people avoid accountability, get all their monies, their pensions, and then proceed to another province, to another department to do wrong.
And just for purposes of clarity, as a communication student, I always love speaking clearly. The Z83 is the application form generally for the
application form for government.
For government, yes. In case, Prof, under current public service regulations, does resignation, departure automatically terminate disciplinary jurisdiction?
Once the person has resigned, you no longer have the jurisdiction over that person. Only the courts of law and all other expensive, complicated processes. But once they are no longer within your employment, a different regime of laws. You can't apply, for example, Public Service, Act in the case of a person who has left that particular department or that particular government.
How then can, if at all possible, the disciplinary hearing or some movements towards the disciplinary hearing somehow involve a post-employ situation where the person can be held to account even post leaving the current office? And I'm trying to, perhaps it doesn't even exist at all, but can you intertwine the civil or criminal system to that in order for them not to escape accountability eventually?
You can, even though it is expensive and difficult once the person is no longer within your ambit.
Yeah.
That is why the Public Service Commission has been saying that in the event of serious charges and the person simply disappears, docking their last payments or the pensions in order to verify if there is nothing owed to government or to the department or organization concerned might be one such deterrent Of course, the others which are barely applied is simply reference to the next employer. Some of the employers simply ask you to tell them who are the 2 or 3 referees instead of going back to your original workplace, which by law ought to disclose if there were any disciplinary processes against the person concerned.
Can a registry of sorts work of officials who resign whilst facing misconduct allegations?
Certainly, when I was talking about this integrated data, it was actually a register wherein people disciplined, found guilty, or they faced disciplinary action and then left before time, those would be recorded. Even if the person is not found guilty, it is always important to have a record so that in future people can peruse and check if the process itself lacked integrity and therefore they let the person go out or they give a nominal sentence to a person when in fact the case was serious. All those things are there to be improved, because currently we do not have that. We have serious fragmentation in the process. And I have come to believe that we have very complicated regulatory framework, and it is not speaking to each other if you are in this province, in that department, and so forth. That's why people reappear in many positions, and there was a case of a person who was an HOD, left this province under the cloud, went into the next province under the cloud, and reappear as a DG. And we have this very ignoble case of a country where you fail upwards.
Only in the way that you could put it, Prof. I could also give you some of your famous quotes from your days as a political analyst, but it will dissuade us from the journey we are traversing now. 17 minutes after 11 o'clock, Professor Somadoda Fikeni is my guest. He's Commissioner of Public Service Commission. We're coming back with him shortly, as I would want us to delve on other issues. We've touched on the registry. What about packages? What about pensions that can be docked?
When they say, let's align, you could book another Teams meeting or you could grab a spirit level and actually get things straight. Forget the corporate talk and join us from the 22nd of January to the 1st of March for the Chamberlain Back to Business promotion. Get amazing deals on everything you need to get going again, from paint mixing and power tools to hardware and building supplies. Plus, serious savings on siteware for clothes that work as hard as you do. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
New deals for the Checkers Extravaganza are here. Save extra on top picks, like Flora Regular or Like That Spread 1 kg, any 2 for 99 Rand, save 41 Rand. Dr. Utker Ital Pizza Classic Frozen Pizza, any 3 for 120 Rand, save 81 Rand. And Simba Potato Chips 120 grams, any 3 for 49 Rand, save 28%. Valid until 1 March, only at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct to give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
It's 20 minutes after 11 o'clock. Welcome back. Thabo in for Clement. We're together till 12. In this segment, we are looking at the phenomena of dealing with the trend that says of people who resign, or employees, government employees who resign before a disciplinary process is instituted against them, and they conveniently disappear and say thank you, but this is the end of the road for us. Is it some form of escapade, or is it accountability, wherein you're saying perhaps that's their way of admitting that they are wrong, or are they running away from being held to account? Professor Somadoda Fikeni is Commissioner of Public Service Commission. He joins us now to help us and guide us along this very interesting topic. Prof, maybe just to throw the spanner in the works, some people may resign because they do not have the emotional aptitude or the psychological acumen to go through a very tedious disciplinary hearing, and these hearings can actually even affect your personal life. And I'm just wondering, how do we balance the rights of individuals and also making sure that we adhere to somehow regulations in a workplace and not use one against the other?
As I started exactly with that point, I was mindful of the fact that we are now facing thousands of people who have been on long-term suspension beyond what regulation requires. And some of them, no disciplinary action has ever taken place. And in the extreme situation, it was 12 years with full pay, 8 years. In such instances, you realize that some people are being forced out of the system. It has nothing to do with administrative justice of a disciplinary process. So that balance, the laws are already there. It's a matter of the integrity of people who are applying those. If you start, as the regulation from the Department of Public Service and Administration says, you can only suspend a person if you felt that their presence would affect your investigation. It's not the beginning of a sentence. And you can also suspend a person for no more than 60 days unless the chairperson of a disciplinary. But in all these cases, you realize that nothing of that has been taking place in the majority of these cases. So it comes to your point to say, in some instances, some people genuinely, and they can explain this, and sometimes in interviews we see such things, and we see where a person was just being victimized, and they can put their case and they can present the documentation, and in such cases it should not prejudice them from getting into the next job because it was the toxicity in their environment rather than them doing the wrong thing.
I'd like us to look at pensions, and you did allude to it earlier on. But before I do that, maybe let me just bring in one of our listeners who wanted to comment on that. Feel free to do the same on 011-883-0702. That's where you can give us a call and we can engage with your questions. Alternatively, you can send a voice note to 072-702-1702. There was one text message that came through that says that the system offers them resignations. The system offers them resignations. That's why they would find it convenient to leave. As I'm battling to get my voice notes that are coming through, I see some of them are, but let me try to get that right. But let's go back to Professor Somadoda Fikeni. Prof, you spoke and you alluded to the issue of pensions a little bit earlier on. Could that be somehow punitive? Unjustifiably so, especially given that the process wouldn't have been complete as yet and a guilty verdict would not have been established, and them leaving and having to then have their pensions docked without due process. I think that also spits in the face of rule of law.
Yes and no. It always depends on the case. Here is a person who has stolen computers in an organization, and the person has admitted guilt during the hearing. when they realize that now they are about to receive the sentence, then suddenly they are running off. In such instances, you can go to court and defend the case as to why you dock this salary in order to recover, if that was one of the verdicts of the disciplinary process. So it would not be a blunt instrument that is used against every other person, but there are specific cases where a person has stolen or taken money and so forth. It is for that reason, even outside now public service, you have the preservation order to say we are not taking it away, but we want this particular process to run its course to see if there would be no lien against that pension in order to extract from it.
25 after 11, 072 702 1702.
Hi, Tabo and the team. My question to the Prof is, why can't they attach the disciplinary hearing to their pension fund by saying that we will not approve your pension fund until you complete your hearing? I think that is simple. Prof. David.
Prof, I think you've touched on that a bit, but I don't know if you want to add anything.
By law, you can't say we are holding you hostage and so forth in terms of you wanting to resign. We say you can't resign, but you can have justifiable grounds if you want to recover your resources, as I said, to say that we will not release the pension immediately. And we still make a commitment that should you be found not to have anything to pay or to recover, then your pensions will be given to you. But that process too should be acted on with speed. Because remember, some people may have their houses repossessed and other things only to find that the person was not guilty. So you can't then use it in a normal court process. It has to be expedited so that a person doesn't suffer prejudice.
Should the departments be required to somehow publicly disclose the status of disciplinary matters when senior officials resign, Prof?
Well, to me, I would not see anything problematic in that because even in the annual reports to Parliament and other accounting entities, that information ought to be made, public.
Yeah.
There is no problem. It may just be the details of the person and the inner, settings of that particular disciplinary, because at times it involves personal information, it involves other people as well. But the outcome, yes.
As we put a ribbon around this box that we have just created, Prof, before we say goodbye, is this matter somehow consuming you in your office, and are you generally fixated with coming with a solution, particularly as a Commissioner of Public Service Commission, around this matter, as it also spills out to ordinary members of the public when they are watching people who are supposed to be accounting, leaving without accounting, leaving without due process being followed, and they emerge elsewhere. Is this one of your KPIs?
It is, because as Chapter 10, which creates the Public Service Commission, instructs us to make sure that there is an effective and efficient public service. So career incidents of this nature are at the core of the PSC. However, they are dealt with in a decentralized manner. One, the Department of Public Service and Administration issue regulations. And two, departments in provinces, in national and everywhere else, then are the ones who manage those career incidents, disciplinary consequence management, and so forth. They are only escalated to the Public Service Commission when a person feels that I have not been favored with a fair process within the department. However, at a policy level, it is something we're raising all the time, and it's not the only one, like those long suspensions with full pay. And this one of people leaving, just the whole discipline management process, it has many weaknesses and which cause the government not to be optimally functional.
Much appreciated, Professor Somatota Fikeni, Commissioner of Public Service Commission. 11:30 on the dot. Mbali Dlamini standing by to give us the very latest on Eyewitness News. Mbali, welcome and good morning.
Thanks, Tabo. Good morning. Political parties say they expect no surprises from Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana when he tables the 2026 budget this afternoon. They've also warned against any attempt to increase the tax rate, whether it's personal income tax or VAT. They expect Godongwana to deliver a budget that addresses weaknesses in the economy as well as the needs of the poor. Coronationville and Westbury residents say they are not convinced by the sudden restoration of water in their communities following their protest. Supply was restored to some households yesterday after angry residents blocked roads with burning tires. The residents were demonstrating against the lack of running water for 3 weeks in that area. And the Western Cape High Court has dismissed 2 urgent applications to block the city of Cape Town from auctioning 50 sites of public land. Yesterday, land activists joined hands with civil society organizations as well as traditional landowners in a protest in the Cape Town CBD. Citing poor public participation, the collective hauled the city before the court to halt the auction, which is now set to go ahead tomorrow. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by cars.co.za. Let's find what moves you. Amo, the roads, how do they look?
Well, Tabo, we've got an accident reported on the N3 North in the Kelvin area. It's right near the Baku interchange. It's causing heavy delays coming out of Alexandra. While traveling in Centurion, we've got major delays along the N14 North between the Brackfontein interchange and Littleton Road. This is due to roadworks that are taking place along this route. About a 20-minute hold up there. Please be on the lookout. And if you are traveling in the Bedfordview area, queuing traffic on the N12 West between Edenville Road and the Glulies interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North approaching the Glulies turn off. Otherwise, if you're heading towards Amalgam, do expect delays on the M2 West between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road. In the south of Joburg, we've got an accident reported. This one is along the N12 West near the Golden Highway. It's causing about a 10-minute hold-up coming out of the N1 split. So please be on the lookout there and approach with care. And that's your last EWN Traffic from me, Mo Ramila Karabutali. We'll have your next update at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
It's called the Koza here in another called the Koza production starring called the Koza and Cars.Koza. In this country, we don't just drive cars, we love cars. So slide into our DMs on WhatsApp and let's find what moves you.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
A report by the Basic Education Department, 15% of grade 3 learners across the country cannot make out a single word they read. Just let that sit with you. They're in grade 3. What are some of the earliest words we read? Mama, Dada, Baba. I can't make out a single word. In grade 3. How did they get from 1 to 2 to 3? How worrying is that?
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery, and unveiling benefits. Apply today. It's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
I heard she's got a recruiter team working 24/7.
That one. She has a secret supply of talent.
I knew it. She's definitely keeping a secret from us.
Nothing mysterious, guys. It's SA Youth, South Africa's largest youth online recruitment platform. Fast to post, effortless to use, and effective every time.
Recruit on the portal to potential. sayouth.co.za. Powering South Africa's youth workforce.
It's 2026 and the Haval H7 is here to celebrate the urban adventurer in you. Available in 4x2, 4x4 and a hybrid electric engine for enhanced performance and everyday versatility. The H7 is yours from only 7,699 per month.
Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM, go with more. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Welcome back. Tabo in for Clement. Great having you with us. You're on 702. 24 minutes to 12 o'clock. And at 12, we'll part ways. Mandy Winner will be here to give you a midday report. And I should mention that Clement is not feeling well. So he should be cool and okay tomorrow. But we're together for the next 24 minutes or so. There's something called sharing space that Clement does every Wednesday at this time, and I do not intend to move furniture. I never do, so I'll stick to the script. And this is where one of you sends Clement an email, and you want a response to a question about your life, this, that, and other. It could be about a relationship. It could be about anything else in your life. It's no different today on the sharing space. We received this following email, and I'll read it the way it is, and I will solicit your response. I'll seek your astute counsel on the matter. I'll ask for your insights. I'll ask for your views, because this particular individual is asking for help from you. So let me read the email, and then we'll come back to it. So here it goes. Hey, Clement. Well, it would be Tabo today because Clement is not here. But nonetheless, we move on. It's really not that deep, but please keep me anonymous in case it's not legal. Whoa. She goes on to say, I got accepted for a PG diploma program at the Purple University. I applied there in November and was accepted by December. I only applied there since the Red University had not responded to my August application, and they are notorious for slow administration. I know exactly what you mean. They finally responded now in February and offered me space for an honors program I really wanted. But the other offer would also do me well in my corporate career growth. I've accepted both offers, and I'm going to go through with studying at both institutions concurrently. Have any listener done this before? Do they advise it? Was it worth it in the end? By the way, I work a full-time job and have a 2-year-old, so my plate is pretty full. I'd love to know if the risk and sacrifices are worth it. Warm regards. I won't mention a name because she said she wants to be kept anonymous. So I would love to hear from you about this problem that this wonderful listener has, that she's now registered at 2 universities and she's going to be studying concurrently. She's the mother of a 2-year-old. She's working full time. I suppose she's got hobbies. She goes hiking as well on weekends. She must see friends, and there are a couple of other things that she must do. Would you advise this? And we do know that studying is very important when you're working because it helps you develop not only yourself, but your career prospects. It also helps you to ask your employer for a little bit more cash than they are giving you. But generally, it's development of a mind. And she's doing 2 programs right now, 2 at 2 different institutions, plus her job, plus the family life that she must have, plus her own life. Have you done that before? And how did it turn out for you? And she's asking, was it worth it? What do you advise? She's asking if she'll come out okay, because it seems as though she has a lot on her plate. Please share your views with us. What would you recommend? Have you done this before? On 011 883 0702. 011-883-0702. Equally so, you can just send a voice note to 072 702 1702. 072 702 1702. I'd love to hear from you. This wonderful listener needs your advice. I personally wouldn't recommend it. I'm studying as well, and it's extremely difficult just doing one program. It's extremely difficult because you have to juggle so much. I even forget when there's a class at times. I had a class yesterday and I almost forgot about it until very late. Fortunately, it was an online class, so I could take it from anywhere. And it is. I can imagine if you had to add more to that plate, you would be really asking for trouble. I would say, if I were to venture an opinion, I'd say, find a way of canceling one, just for your peace of mind, just so that you can also have time to yourself, to your family, and time for other things that have got nothing to do with a formal life program. Yes, you do need them both, and it's advisable to have them both running concurrently, but are you going to have time? My suspicion is that one will suffer at the expense of the other. One will definitely suffer at some point. As opposed to getting 85% or even 92, 93%, you may find yourself getting 52% for one and 74% for the other. I don't know if that would be worth it, but there's an upside to it that I'd like to proffer as well. The upside to this is that if you do well on both of them, goodness me, then you've climbed a mountain in record time. Then you have achieved so much in record time. But I don't know. What do I know about these things? Let us know on 072 702 1702. Alternatively, give us a call and give appropriate counsel and advice to Anonymous. Rilebohile Mabucha calls them Noni. When you are anonymous, she says Noni Mas. So we have Noni here, and Noni wants to know if this is a good idea. Let us know what your thoughts are. And in case you've just walked in and you missed it, let me just go through it one more time, as Noni says this. It's really not that deep, but please keep me anonymous in case it's not legal. Firstly, is it legal? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But she goes on to say, I got accepted for a PG diploma program at the Purple University. I applied there in November and was accepted in December. I only applied there since the Red University had not responded to my August application, and they are notoriously slow in the administration. They finally responded now in Feb and offered me space for an honors program. I really wanted it, but there are other offers. But the other offer would also do me well in my corporate career growth. I've accepted both offers, and I'm going to go through with studying at both universities. Both institutions concurrently. Have any other listener done this before? Do they advise it? Was it worth it in the end? By the way, I work a full-time job and have a 2-year-old So my plate is pretty full. I'd love to know if the risk and sacrifices are worth it. Let us know on 011-883-0702.
Pedal Power Association proudly supports the Cape Town Cycle Tour, and it's more than just a ride, as every entry helps change a life. Proceeds from the race are donated to communities in need, opening doors to education, work and independence. And for every 20 cyclists who enter from Jozi, one bicycle is donated to a community in need. So when you pedal, you're not just riding for yourself, you're helping communities move forward. Go to capetowncycletour.com, proudly supported by Prime Media Cares.
Year in, year out, we're fixing tires faster than a Formula One pit crew. My team is on top of things like tire whisperers. If an unforeseen accident were to happen in my workshop, at least I've got My Way business insurance to keep the wheels turning.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Kick off to glory with Hollywood Bids and Aziz Shege. Be in the game. Go full speed ahead with the epic competition. You stand to win a share of 4 million rand in cash and prizes, including an all-new Toyota Corolla Cross. Bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch. Live life in the fast lane. Bet now for your chance to score. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
It's easy to assume a children's home is simply a place that provides food and beds. But for many vulnerable children, it's the first real sense of safety they've ever known. Tomorrow on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman, we'll speak to the Discam Foundation and Hearts of Hope about how creating nurturing environments today helps shape the adult South Africa will depend on tomorrow. Remember, every swipe of your Discam Better Rewards card helps keep safe spaces like children's homes running. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
For more about 702,
go to primemediaplus.com.
Welcome back. Earlier on, I asked about your help for one of our listeners. She's studying 2 programs, 2 qualifications at the same time concurrently, and she's of the impression that it might be detrimental to her as an individual, but she's going ahead with it. Over and above that, she's got a 2-year-old, and she's worried that she might have bitten more than she can chew. What say you? She'd like to get your advice on the matter. And I also want to extend it a little bit. As an adult, do you feel somehow overly burdened with various responsibilities that you must take care of? And others are somehow natural. There's family life, there is work life, but additional stuff on top of that, trying to develop yourself. Perhaps you also have pedal over and above this. You also have other things that you have committed to. Maybe they're not as strict, but they are commitments. And do you at times feel overly burdened? Like I said, I am also studying part-time, and so every now and then people have to remind me, did you go to class? Are you in class? Don't forget class, because there are 10,000 things happening around me, and I do tend to forget about those important things. So I'm wondering if it's the same with you, where you have so many things happening, so many balls to juggle, and you end up perhaps dropping a few simply because there are just too many. And the adulting thing can be a little bit too much of a pressure to you. Or are you one of those people who know how to manage your life very well? You take on the right amount of responsibilities and commitments for your life. You don't overly burden yourself. I'd love to know from you about that on 011-883-0702. And if you are overly burdened, what do you do? Because at times you just crash out, you run away from it, you use some escapism as a method of coping, you shut down. And there are some people, I think in the previous years that I was studying with, who dropped out. And come exam time, they just disappeared. They pulled a fast one and just poof, they disappeared. And there's no judgment from me. There isn't, because at times it's their only coping mechanism. They might have taken more, not because they are greedy or they're not thoughtful or they do not know how to run their lives, but they're trying to do the impossible. They're trying to do as much as possible, rather to achieve in a shortest space of time. And at times we do that. You take on a few responsibilities in order for some bit of acceleration in your life, and you end up not winning at any of those. Please share your thoughts with me on 072 702 1702.
Good morning, Mr. Tabis. No, man, I don't think, man. There is this saying. They said you cannot kill two birds with one stone. So I think the listeners must take one step at a time. So I think he must take one and then finish one and then the next one. So now you see there's more on his plate or plate. For my advice is no, he can't, or she can't manage it. According to me, no. That's my advice. It's Donald.
Good day, Tabo. Great show as always. I would say to Noni, no, don't do it, for several reasons. One, it's illegal. It's against the laws of this country. Secondly, it's against the regulations of both universities. But thirdly, it might backfire on her if she's found out by future employers, potential employers. I mean, she will have to declare that she went against the laws of the country, against regulations. And that could be fraud. That's wrong. I wouldn't employ her if I found out she's able to just do such illegal stuff in getting a job, I would say. Thank you. Lebo and Rampagridge. Bye.
Listen, and it might be, Lebo, unintentional as far as breaking the law is concerned. And I would suppose you'd argue that it was her job to find out whether that's legal or not. And you'd be right completely. And it does, I mean, one aspect of your life will suffer. And one of those studies, I'm afraid, will take a back seat, because they're both demanding and they're different programs. And one will definitely suffer, if not both. It can be overwhelming, even when you're not, even when you don't have much to study. But because we are adults, there's so many other things. I always envy people without family responsibilities, as they are pursuing their dreams. I always envy them, because they have a lesser burden on their shoulders, and they can make any other decision without having to think twice about who will suffer the consequences of their decision. And those with families, those with responsibilities, kids, partners, or other people dependent on them, they have to think twice when they have to take on such responsibilities, because it does not only mean their demise, and it also means the demise of others as well. So this is quite interesting, and I would love to know more from you. 011-883-0702.
Hello. I was in that situation before. I was studying my master's degree. I was working, and I have a family. I've got 3 children. I'm a full family man, working every day. But it all boils down to, what are you studying for? Why do you need that particular study? Because if you're doing it because somebody did it, or you're doing it because someone else did it, concurrently studying 2 things, her or his situation might not be the same as theirs. So you need to be clear what you're studying for. Then I believe the commitment and the sacrifice, not only just from you, from everyone in your circle, because it's not going to be an easy ride. Thanks, Joseph Ranfonde.
Hi, Tabo. You're speaking to Jimmy from Kempton Park. I think she can make it if she juggles her things around. For instance, she will need support from family or friends or from wherever, especially with the 2-year-old. Remember, the 2-year-old is a full-time job on his or her own. And maybe she might end up needing some supplements. She'll have to work very hard in order to succeed. But I think it's possible. It's doable. Thank you.
You know, you think it's doable until exam time, hey? Or until you have to submit. And your submission counts for so much. That's when you realize that, hey, Batung, what have I done? That night before submission, and if you are a last-minute person like myself, and you are doing work till the wee hours of the morning, and at 6 o'clock you are still at it in order to meet the deadline, it doesn't sound so great anymore. But it's quite interesting, the issue of legality that you raised. I just want to go and look at it, and it's something that perhaps I might have overlooked. And well, Anonymous, Noni, you know where to go now. You need to make sure that you are not breaking the law. You drop one of those and you just stick to one. Now you know. Now you know. And there was a text message briefly. Let me just go to the text messages. I've been neglecting them. This one says, "Hi Thabo, it's called biting more than you can chew. The mere fact that she's having reservations is a sign that she herself doubts if that's a good idea. She must choose what's doable and finish with the one and then pursue the other. The risk is that she might be so overwhelmed, she might not finish both. She must not try playing catch up. Patience is virtue." Interesting. Another text message. "Morning Thabo, the best advice I've ever received is to bite the elephant bit by bit. Working and studying plus family needs her attention. She may study at the institution after completing the other qualification. Thanks." This comes from Dima. 4 minutes to 12.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Tourette syndrome. You probably heard about what happened at the BAFTA Awards. A guy by the name of John Davidson screamed out the N-word while two black artists were delivering an award, and he's very sorry. Heather says Tourette's is uncontrolled expletives. It is not just a racial outburst. The question I'm asking is it a revelation of what somebody truly feels about people? Why doesn't the Tourette syndrome tick become a positive tick?
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Growing a business is a 24/7 job. In fact, 55% of small business owners say they can never switch off. Usually, it's personal moments like missed date nights and long overdue holidays that pay the price. Zero wants to help you claim one back with an emotional tax return. To enter, share a moment you missed while growing your business on Instagram stories and tag @Zero spelled with an X. Competition ends 22 March. T's and C's apply.
Morning, sir.
Hey, got up the shop.
Topping up.
Yeah. Hey, remember when our coffee didn't taste this good?
And when the Wi-Fi dropped 3 times a day?
Yo, my man.
Good times.
Now we've leveled up. High-speed Wi-Fi, private spaces, on-site support. This place runs like a machine.
Yo, flippin' seamless.
Yeah, that's WeWork, eh?
And my team's like loving it, eh? Productivity's up. No one's fighting over the fridge.
Yeah, I know. It's the dream.
WeWork, Africa's largest co-working spaces. WeWork.co.za. Made for work, built for business.
All Scholar transport operators are required to comply with the following mandatory requirements. A valid operating license authorizing the operator to transport passengers on the specified route. A valid operator disc, which must be clearly displayed on the windscreen next to the vehicle license disc. A valid vehicle registration with a current roadworthy certificate confirming that the vehicle is fit, safe, and legally permitted to operate on public roads. Compliance must be reflected on the vehicle license disc. Compliance with these requirements is non-negotiable and is enforced to safeguard the lives of learners and all road users. Issued by the National Department of Transport.
John Perlman. Weekday Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
Nothing is done because there are no funds. I don't think it's a simple linear line of causation like that. There is always money in government, and my goodness, the money is made available rapidly and readily for some absolute nonsense, usually involving 25% for somebody who then provides the service badly. So I'm not convinced that government is short of money. I would have thought that sequence should be, I think we've got to, in analysing what's going wrong with water provision, there would be more money if it wasn't spent lining people's pockets.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
Mandy winner between 12 and 1 midday report. Afternoon, Mandy, what's coming up?
Hey, Tabo, budget today. That's what we're doing predominantly on the show today. We'll speak to the ANC. Remember this time last year?
Yeah.
It was wild. Lockup was being unlocked up and VAT and all sorts of craziness. So we'll speak to the ANC in anticipation of the budget today. We'll speak to the EFF, the Board of Healthcare Funders, COSATU, look at the protests as well. And then we'll have a look at the proceedings at the Madlanga inquiry. There was supposed to be a new witness. That witness is sick, so we'll just pick up on that.
All that and more between 12 and 1 on Midday Report with Mandy Winner. Thanks for indulging the team and myself. Have a lovely afternoon.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Political parties say they expect no surprises from Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana when he tables the 2026 budget this afternoon. They've also warned against any attempt to increase the tax rate, whether it's personal income tax or VAT. They expect Godongwana to deliver a budget that addresses weaknesses in the economy as well as the needs of the poor. Babalondenze has more from Parliament.
Political parties say they won't tolerate a repeat of last year when Minister Enoch Godongwana announced a VAT increase. The matter caused divisions in the GNU and ended up before the courts before the idea was eventually abandoned by National Treasury. IFP Chief Whip Nhlanhla Hadebe says he doesn't expect any surprises, but rather a budget that funds key programs.
We are not expecting any surprises this year. We are optimistic that it's all systems go. And the government of national unity on the side of cooperation and working together is stable.
Parties like the EFF and Action SA have also voiced their opposition to any tax adjustments and want Godongwana to prioritize the economy, education and the social safety net. Mama Londenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry is not sitting today after a witness that was due to appear this morning fell sick. The witness, who cannot be named at this stage, is a crime intelligence officer responsible for agents and informants within the SAPS. The witness submitted a medical certificate to the Commission saying he was unwell and cannot testify today. Chairperson Mbuyiseli Madlanga has adjourned the Commission until tomorrow.
This hearing that aborted until tomorrow at 9:30.
9:30, Chair.
9:30. We have no other business. That means we adjourn for the day.
Coronationville and Westbury residents are not convinced by the sudden restoration of water in their communities following their protest action. Supply was restored to some households yesterday after angry residents blocked roads with burning tires. The residents were demonstrating against the lack of running water. They had vowed to continue their protest until their water supply was fully restored. Community activist Melissa Davids says authorities only respond when they go to the streets.
So we want to understand, where did water come from all of a sudden yesterday? Where did water come from? Just down the road, Nuclear, where they weren't protesting, there's no water there. So it seems like water is being switched on based on the frustration from the community. It's confirmed and it's proven that once there's a protest, the water goes on.
While Johannesburg Water spokesperson Nombuso Shabalala says the system is under significant pressure.
Coronationville and Westbury and surrounding areas remain constrained as the system undergoes pressure stabilization. Low-lying areas do have intermittent water supply, while high-lying areas are still affected.
The Western Cape High Court has dismissed 2 urgent applications to block the city of Cape Town from auctioning 50 sites of public land. Yesterday, land activists joined hands with civil society organizations and traditional landowners in a protest in the Cape Town CBD. Citing poor public participation, the collective hauled the city before the court to halt the auction, which is now set to go ahead tomorrow. City Mako member for Economic Growth, James Force, says the city welcomes the court's decision.
This land will unlock real economic and social value for the people of Cape Town. From the beginning, we've said our process is lawful and transparent.
Leader of the Land Party, Kobani Nzongana, says the collective will be approaching the courts again.
Definitely they will institute a legal action to make sure that this matter is properly, by all means necessary, is being prevented, that this land, the land disposition, is not happening during the time of democracy.
And a former intelligence chief in Sri Lanka has been arrested in connection with the 2019 Easter Sunday bombings that killed 279 people. Police say retired Major General Suresh Saleh was taken into custody at dawn in Colombo in the most high-profile arrest in the long-running investigation. The coordinated bombings targeted 3 upmarket hotels in the capital, 2 Roman Catholic churches and another church outside Colombo. The attacks were blamed on a homegrown jihadist group. Gold is trading at $5,188.18 an ounce. The rand is at 15.91 to the dollar, 21.50 to the pound, 18.76 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $70.77 a barrel.
Well, at this stage, if you are traveling through Boksburg heading towards Brakpan, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N17 eastbound. That's between Rondebold Road and Carnival City. In the Mother City, there's roadworks. This is on Chapman's Peak Drive. This is approaching the N2. There's also slow-moving traffic on the N2 outgoing. This is heading towards Victoria Road.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 29 degrees, while Cape Town is also partly cloudy with a moderate westerly wind and a high of 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, political parties say they expect no surprises from Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana when he tables the 2026 budget this afternoon.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Coming up on the show today, it's budget day today. We'll speak to the ANC in anticipation of Enoch Godongwana's address this afternoon. We'll also hear from the EFF, the Board of Healthcare Funders, and COSATU. Protests outside Parliament ahead of the budget. We'll take you live there. And proceedings at the Madlange inquiry stalled by a sick witness. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. It's budget day today. Sure, remember budget day last year, how wild that was, where it was called off half an hour or something like that. But before the finance minister's speech, everybody who was in lockdown was told that it's not happening, and it was chaotic all over that. And it seems as though we're not going to have that kind of